Okay, today we're talking with Tim King, and Tim, you're the bass player from the band Soil. How are you doing today?
Good. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing great now. Of course, you guys, are you currently touring, or are you getting ready to go on a tour? Because I got a press release saying that you guys were going out with, I think the other band is All That Remains.
Yep. We start that actually next week. So we've got a couple of days left at home, getting all our gear and rehearsals in, and then we're off to the races for a month with All That Remains and Motionless in White. We have a few headlining dates in there. A date with Fear Factory. So it should be an interesting little conglomerate of shows.
Oh, that's pretty good. And so, is that going to be across the states?
Well, we're starting off. We're working our way to Reno, Nevada, and that's where the tour actually starts.
Okay.
And we're going all the way through up in the Pacific Northwest, and then we kind of cut all the way through into the Midwest, all the way back up into the East Coast. So we're going basically from one end of the country to the other in 3.5 weeks. So it's going to be a bit of a grind drive-wise and everything, but we're definitely hitting a lot of markets on this one.
Wow. So the tour, I was curious, have you guys just put out a new album, or is the album you're touring behind, has it been out for a while?
It came out August 20th. It's called Whole.
Oh, okay. And
it's the first record we put out with Ryan back on vocals.
Okay.
So that just came out, and we've already done a good amount of touring for it already. We went out with the band Dope for 6 weeks, and we did some radio festivals for a few weeks. So we're coming back out on this All That Remains one, and then next year we're off to UK and Europe with our buddies in Skindred, and then we're confirmed on the Soundwave Festival in Australia, which should be awesome.
And of course, Ryan, for a while, he was fronting the band Drowning Pool. I was curious, was it just a matter of things didn't work out with Drowning Pool and he wanted to come back, or how did you guys get back together with him?
Well, we had been, after he'd been out of the band for quite some time, I think it was like 5-6 years, we actually, started talking again and talking about, the past and, things where we went wrong and what we did right, and kind of started to mend the fences a little bit, if you will. And after we, started talking about it and started rekindling the friendship a bit, we actually got an offer to do a UK tour from a promoter over there and do a co-headline with Puddle of Mud. And, we talked to Ryan. He actually had some downtime in between Drowning Pool, and he agreed to do that tour. And originally it was just going to be a tour of the UK, but we had such a great time doing it. And, kind of put all the bygones of the past in the past, rekindle our friendship, and saw how much we loved playing together, that we decided to keep on going with it. And it was kind of at that time, I don't really know the entire Drowning Pool story, and
yeah.
Me and Adam have tried to stay out of it.
That's cool. I understand.
We don't want to stir the pot with anything. So
yeah.
I think from what we've heard from friends, is a mutual split, and it has run its course. And they have a new singer and a new album, which I really enjoy the new album, Resilience, a lot. It's a great record. So Ryan came back to us, and we made a new record, and kind of as simple as that in some ways.
And do you think from the time that he spent in Drowning Pool that he'll bring any of those fans to the band, as far as when you guys hit the tour and people wanting to come and check out Soil now because he's back in the band?
Yeah, I think his time in Drowning Pool really made Ryan a better singer.
Yeah.
Just from the time that he spent in Soil and then the time that we were apart, and then for him coming back, his vocals are just so much more powerful than ever. He's really on top of his game. I think he's singing the best that he ever has in his career, which is great. And, the time in Drowning Pool, doing as much touring as they did,
mm-hmm.
and recording the albums that they did, and giving Ryan that experience, I think it only helped him. And he's back, and he's stronger than ever before, in my opinion.
And so it's obvious that, I guess your guys' time apart, kind of was good in a sense that it made you guys realize what you had together.
Yeah, it was a lot of that, too. In all fairness, Ryan is the voice of Soil, and when he was gone, it was very apparent that, an element of the original formula was gone, and to rekindle that back with me and Adam and Ryan, and to make another record and play together again, man, it just felt like wrapping a warm blanket around yourself again. It just felt like we were all back home. And I think it really shows on this new record because we recorded it really fast. I mean, it's a very organic, raw, and powerful record. And I think that really shows from, just us enjoying playing together again and that magic coming together that was gone for many years. And not to say anything about the record's True Self or Picture Perfect.
Yeah.
Because I think, those records in their own right were very good records, and I'm extremely proud of both of them. I think that they were both great records. But, as far as Soil's concerned, that original formula, it's kind of like, KFC, that original herbs and spices, we finally put those back together, and it really made for a great comeback record.
And, talking about, the two records you guys did while Ryan wasn't in the band, I was curious, now that he's back, will you be playing some of that material as well, or just concentrate on the material that you've recorded with him over the years?
We've actually talked about it, and we've actually, started to rehearse a little bit of some material off those songs. Right now, we're really focused on promoting the new record.
Of course.
So once we start, the record's only been out for 3 months at this point.
Yeah.
About 3 months at this point. So, it's still brand new. So I think once this record gets some time under it and some sea legs, I think we'll kind of revisit the old material and pull out, maybe some tracks that we haven't played in a long time, or some tracks from the two non-Ryan records and see what we can come up with. But, it's definitely in the realm of possibility. So.
And so, where's home base for you guys these days?
Me and Adam are still in Chicago.
Okay.
That's basically where the band was
formed,
and that's pretty much home base. Ryan's actually living in Kentucky, and our touring drummer Mitch lives in Arizona. So, with technology, we can do a ton of stuff, via phone and computer, and, we get together and rehearse before tours and things of that nature. So, nowadays it really doesn't matter where anybody is. We've been doing this for so long, it really doesn't make a difference. We actually pretty much wrote the whole record, sitting in either my office or Adam's little studio, or, through text messaging. So, a lot of it was, written back and forth by phone conversations and through the internet, and, us just sitting together in a room with, a couple guitars and stuff. So, we've definitely honed in on our skills over the years.
And so, as far as the writing goes, how does that usually work? Like, again, do you guys just send your different pieces of music, different riffs to each other, and everybody kind of chimes in? Oh, I like that riff. I like your riff you sent me, or I like this. Let's put it with this song. How do you go about piecing everything together and writing the stuff?
Yeah, that's the way it went this time. Before in the past, for all 5 records before this one, it was always us in a jam room, and we would bounce riffs off of each other and write the songs, and then give them to the singer, or if the singer was there, they'd try out different things and stuff like that. But this time around, since we didn't actually have a solid drummer for the recording, we did all the demoing with the drum machine, and it was me, Adam, and Ryan sitting in a room together, writing things together, or me and Adam would get together and put riffs together, and Adam would go back and kind of do some arrangements on it and things like that, and then we'd send it off to Ryan. So it was the 3 of us, making all the decisions on the writing process and everything. Naturally, Ryan wrote all the lyrics and the vocals for everything, and me and Adam put together all the riffs and things like that, and then we took it to our producer. But the drums, we recorded the demos over the drum machine, and then we had our good friend Will Hunt from the band Evanescence and Black Label Society and Device, and he's played with everybody. He came in and made drums on the record, so we didn't even really know what he was exactly going to do until we were in the studio recording the record, and he's just a monster on drums. He recorded all the drums for the record in 2 days, and it's definitely the best sounding drums and the best performance on drums that we've ever had as a band. So that was a real treat to have Will playing the record. And
so, when you guys writing a song, I was curious, does it usually start with a riff or a piece of music, or do you usually have the lyrics?
It always starts with the riff. The riff has always been for us the fundamental part of writing a song, whether it be
And then, so I imagine once you get the music together, usually at that point, that's when somebody will start writing the lyrics. Or do you, like when Ryan writes a song, for example, I imagine like when he's writing lyrics, sometimes he's got an idea of what he's writing about, or he's got a story or something that he's basing the song on.
Yeah, I mean, everything, like I was saying, starts with a riff, and then we'll add the drum beat, and then we'll come up with musically an arrangement that we feel is cool or we're comfortable with,
and
then send it to Ryan, and then Ryan will come back and say, hey, do you think we could maybe put this riff here, or take this riff out and put a different one in, or extend this one, and then come with his lyric and vocal ideas, and then, you know, we adhere it and change the song, any of the structures around to accommodate his lyrics and vocals. And then once we get the basic demo of the song, you know, then it goes to the, you know, recording phase when we go in with the producer, and the producer naturally has, you know, his idea of where the song should go, and then we change it even more from there. And it just basically goes through a weeding process. You know, it's constantly being filtered until the end result is recorded.
And as far as that goes, I was curious, like, do you guys, like, when you went in and recorded this latest album, do you have a stockpile of material, or, you know, do you just record a bunch of songs, or do you pretty much go in there knowing, okay, these are the 10 tracks that are going to go on the album, and so we're just going to record these 10 tracks, or do you ever have any material left over?
Yeah, and this one, I believe we went in with 15 or 16 songs, you know, and we picked out them. And, you know, what we did is we demoed them up, and, you know, we picked out the ones that we wanted, and then, you know, the producer picked out the ones they wanted, and we sat down and, you know, talked about it and all that. And then one song, actually, Psychopath, was a last-minute song that Adam actually came up with, like, a week before we were going to the studio, and that kind of just squeaked its way in. And, yeah, we do have a few door from these sessions. And I don't know if they'll ever see the light of day, or, you know, put them on future recordings, or maybe pull riffs from them. But, you know, there's definitely extra catalog material.
And I was curious, as a band, like, do you find that you and your bandmates have many of the same influences, or do you think a lot of you guys have different influences, and that's kind of what everybody brings into the picture, if you will?
Well, I think we share the common goal, most definitely, of bands we all like. And then there's always, you know, outside, you know, influences of bands that certain people like. You know, I mean, I think it's safe to say that we all enjoy, you know, Alice in Chains and Metallica and Aerosmith and AC/DC and bands like Ozzy, you know, and stuff like that. And then there's, you know, other, you know, Ryan likes a lot of classical, like classic rock type bands.
Okay.
And Adam likes a lot of the, you know, active rock, you know, radio type bands. And me, I you know, my favorite band is Motley Crue, and I love the 80s hair metal type stuff. And
okay.
Me and Adam also, we're in a death metal band, and we still listen to death metal, so we love, like, Kiss and Death and Morbid Angel and Deicide and Arch Enemy and stuff like that.
Wow, okay.
And Ryan, you know, just doesn't understand that at all. So there's definitely all those little individual influences, but I think, you know, as a whole, we definitely, you know, come together with those solid, you know, influences that we have as a band, and you can kind of pick those out in the music as well.
And see, to me, the great thing about a band like Soil is, like when I listen to some of you guys' music, I can definitely hear those influences, but at the same time, it doesn't sound like you're trying to be a clone of any of those bands. And interestingly enough, you know, you have like a real fresh, organic sound, and in the sense that, you know, you don't sound like a million other bands that are out there. You got a unique sound going for yourself. Is that something you guys set out to do when you first formed a band?
Well, honestly, we just kind of set out just to write what, you know, we were feeling. What came naturally. And, you know, I think the Soil sound is kind of a combination of, you know, Ryan has such a unique voice, and it's very gruff and powerful, and it's not like really anybody else out there. Just combine that, and then we'll get A sharp, which is a very low tone for a rock band. And then you have a bass. With my bass tone, I've always tried to get more of an attack. Get mine the low end, and then, you know, that complemented with, you know, Adam's sound of Adam definitely is find the mid-range on a guitar. So I think those combined sounds that we each individually have on our own instruments,
Okay.
including vocals into that, kind of portray the soil sound. That messed with influences. I mean, naturally, you're always going to have influences.
Yeah. And as far as bass players, who are the guys that influenced you?
Initially, I was, like I said, Motley Crue's, been my favorite band since
Okay.
I've been like 9 years old. So initially, I kind of gravitated towards Mickey Six and was like wanted to play the bass because he played it. And after I started playing and learning things, my bass idols, blossomed into like Dave Ellefson from Megadeth.
Oh wow. Okay.
Geezer Butler, John Petitucci from the Chick Corea Electric Band.
Okay.
I really admired like Stu Hammond, Billy Sheehan, and Geddy Lee, and
wow.
all your typical awesome players that are way better than I am. Always the people that I kind of looked up to, and I always thought that the two unsung heroes were Dave Ellefson and Duff McKagan because they're just really solid bass players with a lot of tasty fills and great licks that just really haven't gotten their due credit, which I think is sad because they're just great bass players.
And I think the thing about Duff too is besides being a great bass player, he's a pretty good songwriter. Also, most people think of Duff McKagan, the original bass player from Guns N' Roses, but he's done things outside of Guns N' Roses where he's actually a lead singer in some of the things he's done, and he's a decent enough singer and songwriter. So I think if people check out more of his work, they see he's an all-around, very gifted musician.
For sure.
And I was curious, Tim, how old are you? I mean, how old were you when you first started playing it, and was the bass your first instrument?
Actually, my first instrument, I started playing in 3rd grade, and I picked up the viola.
Okay.
I played that for a few years, and I was in orchestra and all that. And, I kind of lost interest in it because, naturally with, the viola and things like that, you're playing all classical music, which I have a very deep appreciation for and a love for. But, around that time, 5th grade, 6th grade, all my friends were starting to get into heavy metal, and, that was when, we were discovering Ozzy and Motley and Wasp and, Sabbath and things like that. And I kind of just lost interest in it. And I didn't play for quite a few years. And then, when I was 16, I picked up a bass. And, my friend, there was a drummer, there was a singer, and there was a guitar player, and they were missing a bass. So I'm like, okay, I'll play bass. And, kind of snap career decision right there. And, I actually traded in my viola for a bass guitar, and my dad bought me a amp, and, I just started learning riffs and learning, I think, by Black Sabbath was the first song I ever learned in its entirety, and I just kept going from there and picking up things from guitar players and other bass players, and, pretty much self-taught, took lessons here and there, but mainly it was just all that year and, learning off of people that I could learn off of.
And do you remember what was the first song you learned how to play?
Yeah, Paranoid by Black Sabbath.
Wow, that's a great song.
I was terrible at it.
And so, you're talking about some of your heroes. I was curious, what's it like for you as a musician when you have, these kids come to your shows, and I'm sure you meet several people after your shows, and you have people come up to you telling you what a great player they think you are, or man, hey, you really picked, you inspired me to, try to learn how to play the bass guitar. That must kind of be a crazy feeling for you.
Yeah, there's nothing more flattering, and still to this day, I've been playing as many years as I have. When somebody comes up and they say, I started playing bass because of you, or, I love your playing, your sound, or you're one of my favorite bass players. That still kind of gives me chills up my spine because, I've just always considered myself, an in-the-pocket player that throws in a tasty lick, here and there.
Yeah.
And to hear people, say that, I'm either their bass idol or they started playing because of me or they really like my
and I was curious, do you play the bass with a pick or with your fingers?
I alternate. On recordings, I alternate. I kind of do what sounds best on the recording, but live I play it with a pick, especially with as down-tuned as we are. A pick gives a nice little growl and a hack, so that it cuts through while you're playing through the PA and through the live sound. But in the studio, I'll alternate between things, whatever the song dictates.
And do you think it's just a matter of as far as what sounds best? Because there's a bit of a controversy among players. Some think I play I never played my.
There's always the age-old. Yeah, there's always the old. You're not true if you with your fingers. Or,
Yeah.
is tighter and sounds better. And at the end of the day, it's all type of music play, what band you're in, and what you feel most comfortable with. I mean, I've seen finger players that are absolutely amazing. I've seen finger players that are absolutely horrible. And the pick players, I've seen. Joey DeMeo from Manowar could outpick pretty much any finger on the face of the planet, doing Flight of the Bumblebee and all that sort of stuff. And there's pick players out there that could annihilate finger players. Yet at the same time, Stu Ham, in the same room with me, playing Linus and Lucy and double tapping on a bass with his fingers that looked like he's playing a piano.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, it's kind of all the player and what type of music you're playing and what you're trying to achieve. Right?
Okay, wow, and so I was curious, like Tom Peterson from Cheap Trick, for example, he's known for playing a 12-string bass. Have you ever played anything like that? And is there much difference in the amount of strings, or just you have a fatter sound?
Yeah, I actually have a 12-string bass, and in fact, I was endorsed by Hamer Basses for quite a few years before I switched over to Spectre, which is who I'm with now, which are awesome, by the way. Go out and buy Spectre.
Okay.
But, I do have a 12-string bass, and I actually used to play it live.
Okay.
We have a song called Unreal, and when we were on Ozfest 2002, I would bring out the 12-string and play it on that song, and it basically just kind of sounds like you're hitting the piano with the bass, because you have the string and you have the two octaves, which it's cool. It gives a little sound. It's probably a little unnecessary because it's kind of buried in with the rest of the music, but it looks cool and it sounds cool if you can pick it out of the song.
Yeah, and I was curious. Most people that aren't musicians, such as myself, a lot of people mistake the bass guitar is just basically a 4-string guitar. But is there much difference between playing a regular electric guitar with 6 strings and a bass?
Well, I definitely play both. In fact, I write all the music that I do write riff-wise on guitar, and you can transpose it to bass. But I think a good friend of mine and the producer of a couple records of ours named Ulrich Wild, I think he put it best when he said, the bass is the glue that holds the band together.
Mm-hmm.
It's you have the guitar and you have the drums, and the bass bridges that gap, because a real bass player and not a guitar player that switched to bass, or somebody that started off on guitar, but a genuine bass player who started off on playing the bass, you can really tell who they are and if they started off on the bass or not, because what a true bass player that started off on the instrument will do is they'll move in between the guitar riffs and the drums, and sometimes going with the kick and snare, but other times go and blend in with the guitar, whichever dictates for the song to fill in those gaps and kind of be that glue, that bond that holds everything together. And, I started off, on the bass, and I, wasn't a bass player at first, like a lot of people are. And, if you listen to Soil records, you'll be playing with the kick and snare and hitting drum beats and stuff like that. And then I'll kind of branch over if it'll dictate and go with the guitar on certain things and go back and forth. And
then, I was curious, when you guys record, how important is it to you that that you're interlocked with the drummer? That they say the rhythm section is usually the bottom end is the drums and the bass. How is it mostly you guys just playing against each other, or you got to really be in sync with one another?
Oh, it's got to be dead on in sync and tight with each other. And the bass and drums are the rhythm section and the foundation. And like I said, the bass, an experienced bass player will weave in and out, between the two.
Yeah.
Listen to that the new album Hole with Will Hunt. I mean, Will is just such a fantastic drummer. He's one of the best rock drummers out there right now, and he was a real experience for me as a bass player to play with such a great drummer and be able to enhance my bass parts and play along, with that. So, and before that, we were playing with John Masaki from the band Stain.
Okay.
He was filling in for us for a while, and he's an amazing drummer in his own right as well. And, our touring drummer, Mitch Gable, was great too. So I've been blessed over the past, couple of years to play with 3 awesome players.
Wow, that's great. I mean, you got bass players like, like Billy Sheehan, for example, super duper talented bass player, but he really plays like, more like he's playing like a guitar.
Yeah.
And do you have a preference as far as that goes, like, or are you kind of one of these guys that it's more about what fits the song?
I mean, I kind of like a little bit of everything. Like when we were on tour with Mudvayne years and years ago, I mean, Ryan, just seeing him play bass and slapping that thing in metal and grooving on it, just brutal and fantastic. And then, like I've gone to see the Chick Corea Electric Band, when I was younger, and to see John Patitucci pick up a 5 and 6 string bass, and when it would come time for a bass solo, he'd be sitting there just picking that thing and doing sweeps and all crazy stuff. But then you take, a player like Geezer Butler, who's just in that pocket and just solid and keeping that band going and that pulse going. It's a combination of the two, and I think each one has its own mystique to it. And I enjoy listening to both.
And so I was curious, like your latest album, which you said is called The Hole. You guys selling hard copies of that? Can people get that in the store, or is it mostly available online right now?
It's even on vinyl.
Oh, cool.
There's a vinyl edition of it that available in more boutique music stores, and you can get it online, through Amazon. And then Best Buy has the CD, which is an autographed version, which we hand autographed, called the Best Buy version.
Oh, cool.
And FYE has a exclusive solo guitar pick that comes with it, and then all the other chains have the normal one, and then the European edition is a digipack with a layout, and then the Japanese and Australian edition has a bonus track on it. So yeah, we definitely have the hard copy available, and it's in all the stores. So
cool.
It's pretty easy to find.
As far as the vinyl thing, it seems like vinyl's making a bit of a comeback these days. A lot of newer releases are releasing like you guys vinyl editions. Do you find that a lot of people have been buying the vinyl, or is it just more for collectors?
I think it's still more for collectors. I think it's just kind of a cool piece to have. I mean, a lot of people that buy it, like at our shows and online, are just fans that want to have that the big piece of the record. But then there's the other people that actually have vinyl players, have record players, and the vinyl. I mean, honestly, I played the vinyl and the CD and the MP3, and that's back to back.
Yeah.
Just to kind of compare them, and the vinyl sounds fantastic. I mean, the album sounds stellar on vinyl. I mean, there's just no.
And that's what I was going to ask you, because I've heard a lot of people say that, and so do you think like digital type music like MP3s and even CDs? The great thing about those technology, I guess, it makes it a little easier for recording process. But I guess what you're saying is vinyl is ultimately the best quality.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the MP3, there's so much that's taken out of it to compress it down. But I mean, it's hard to tell when you're listening to it on an iPhone or an iPod, or even in the car. But there is, if you compare it with other formats, you definitely hear where it does lack in there in some respects. But
yeah.
Nobody's carrying on a record player in their car.
Exactly. Yeah.
Full of vinyl anymore. So.
And let me ask you, because now I kind of miss a lot. When I was growing up, a lot of the bands they would record albums like, I guess we'd say the old school way now, which is where the whole band would be in a studio and they just record it live, like together. And you can kind of tell there's more of a live sound of things. So I was curious, like when you recorded this latest album where you guys are sending each other riffs through a computer or whatever, and you're not actually in the same room. When everything is finally pieced together and you hear the final mix, does it usually come out like the way you heard it in your head, or does it usually come out, oh well, it sounds good, but sound a little different than what I expected, or how's that usually work for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of hit and miss.
Uh-huh.
There's some songs that come out exactly the way that we would expect them, and there's other songs that all of a sudden you're like, holy crap, that song's awesome.
Yeah.
On the flip side, there's ones that you thought would be like the big single, the hit song, and they just end up as an album track. They just kind of lost their momentum somewhere along the way. It's kind of a process, and you kind of have to see where the path takes you on each song. Because I've seen songs that almost didn't make the record, becoming some of the favorite songs and some of the biggest songs we've ever written. And there's songs that we thought were the ones that were going to do it, and nobody really cares about them. So it's all kind of what happens during the process.
And that's the next question I was going to ask. Back in the day, bands would have like an AR guy or somebody at the label that they would tell you, okay, this is the song we're going to release as a single or do a video or whatever for. Do you guys, in the digital age, I was curious, do you automatically know what the single's going to be, or do you kind of let the audience decide for you as far as, this is the song that's been downloaded the most, so maybe this is a song we should go with as far as releasing as a single? What's your guys' typical, procedure for like choosing out a single or something like that?
Yeah, before, you hit the nail on the head. There was always somebody from the record label kind of breathing over your neck or looking over your shoulder, saying, that's the one we want to go with. We got to go with that song. The reason we did this new record the way we did is so that, we could have control of it, and we could pick the songs that we wanted to put out, and, also get the feedback from the fans to see what songs, were their favorite. Naturally, you can't, before the record comes out, you can't ask everybody what they think of it, because the record would be leaked, and you'd have a world of problems, but, so we kind of picked that one, and the song we actually picked was Shine On, which was for the fans, about the fans.
Wow.
And we thought that was kind of a cool song for us to pick, because it was actually a dedication to the fans and a song for the fans. And the next one that we're gearing up to launch next year is something that we've kind of been hearing a lot of feedback from.
And we'd be doing a video?
A lot of fan interaction, and a lot of people have told us, that's the song. So, our gut's telling us it is. A lot of other people are telling us, and that's the one we're going to roll with. So.
And will you guys be doing a video for that?
Yeah, I'm sure we will. With every single we release, it's, single video. So.
That's cool. And then, of course, I'd like to ask, this is a new music industry, if you will, and I think the great thing about it is, like you're saying, it puts a lot of the control back in the band's hand, as opposed to having some guy tell you what to do at a label, or, you guys aren't selling, so we're going to drop you right away. What's the greatest thing about you guys being in control of your music, or, releasing the music yourself?
Just that we can write, we can do what we want, that might not be the greatest thing, and, but we did hire a producer. We had Ulrich Wild do the new record, so we did have a referee, but, as far as the songs we picked for the record, how we wanted to do them, the majority of the say-so was on our hands, and it was kind of refreshing because, we're older. We've been a band, since 1997, so
wow.
If we don't know how to write and arrange songs by now, we might as well. So, this time, we really wanted to make the type of record that we wanted to make, and me, Adam, and Ryan wanted to call the shots and do what we felt was right, and we did just that. And that was a beautiful thing with this recording.
And let me ask you, Ryan, like you said, Soil's been together since 1997. I'm sure you were in other bands before that, but you guys, so you've reached a certain level of success in your career. But what was the point to you in your career where you finally felt like, I finally made it as a musician? I've reached that level of success.
Well, for me, it was two things. One was being signed to a major label when we signed to JROCK and got signed by Clive Davis.
Wow.
And the second one was when we got the Ozzy Osbourne, Rob Zombie Mudvayne tour.
Wow.
And we actually played the arena in my hometown, and it's where I saw my very first concert. It's where I saw all the big concerts that I've ever seen in my life, and I always said, if I ever play here, oh my God, I have made it. And I actually got to play the Allstate Arena, it's called here in Rosemont, Illinois, and I actually got to play that on the Ozzy Osbourne tour, and that was that was just mind blowing.
Wow, do you find with each release you guys are getting like bigger and bigger?
I don't know about that. I mean, the music industry is kind of getting smaller and smaller. So I mean, I guess if you gauge the size of the industry now and where the new record's at, I think that it's surpassed the last couple records. But it's kind of hard to tell. I mean, we've been a band, and we've definitely seen an upswing back in the band, and with this new record.
Yeah, I guess
so, we're definitely on the upswing. I don't know if we keep getting bigger each time, or
well, I guess what I'm asking is
there seems to be new crops of fans each time. It seems as though now, since we've hit the 15-year mark,
I mean, I guess what
a lot of kids are rediscovering their parents' soil records and getting into it and stuff.
Yeah, I guess what I'm asking too is, I mean, you guys are still playing like as far as still playing the big arenas and that. You're not back into just doing clubs all the time.
Yeah, we've opted it out. I mean, for ourselves, we couldn't go out and headline an arena.
Yeah.
Naturally. But we still get offered to play, big theaters and radio shows and festivals, and we had a couple of festivals over the summer that were 10, 15, 20,000 people. So I mean, that's always an amazing thing in its own right, that we keep getting invited to those. So I guess you could attest that to the fact that people still are enjoying our music and still hold us relevant, which is a great thing.
Yeah, and I think too, a great thing you guys got going for yourself is you're one of those bands that you can play to a metal crowd, you could play to at the same time, a band like Alice in Chains or even a death metal crowd. You're able to do a little bit of everything.
Yeah, that's always been one great thing about us is we've always been, with the type of music that we play and the songs that we do have, is we get a heavier set and then we can get a lighter set going on, but it still kind of maintains the identity of the band, which is always cool. And you know what? Really hate to do this to you, but I have another interview.
No, I know. I was just gonna wrap.
I kind of have to wrap this.
Yeah, I was getting ready to wrap this up. I was just gonna ask you before we do that if there's anything else you'd like to say before ending the interview.
Oh, beautiful, perfect timing.
Yeah.
I'd like to say first and foremost, thank you very much for the interview, and I really enjoyed the questions. It's always kind of refreshing when I get to talk about the music and the instrument I play and stuff like that. So kudos to you for some great questions.
Okay, well,
for listening and supporting, and hopefully see some of you out there on the All That Remains tour and pick up the new album Whole.
Okay, and before I let you go, Tim, I want to thank you once again. Take time out of your busy schedule, and just let you know this will be going online sometime in early January, and once I get a date, I'll let you know, because we're kind of wrapping it up too for a year. But take care, my friend, and keep my number, and maybe we can do this again down the line.
Yeah, it would be awesome. I really did enjoy the interview.
Okay,
and I'll tell how great it was as well.
Okay, I enjoyed talking to you. Anytime any of your...
We'll talk to you soon.
Okay, take care, my friend. Bye-bye.